Welcome to this special series from Storyboard. Even though the UPA2 government has deferred the decision to further open up foreign direct investment in the retail sector to March, that's after the 5 state elections are done, it's pretty categorical that this is one policy change whose time has come. The arguments for and against the move have been equally vociferous. Starting today, through the month of January, we will learn how the retail sector operates, the compulsions of different stakeholders, and the financial dynamics that drive the sector. Hopefully, it will help you decide which side of the FDI debate you want to take. We'll start with the obvious question today. Why does the retail sector need foreign direct investment at all? Before I get our expert views in, let's take a look at how we've been shopping.
With 12 million outlets, India has the highest number of retail outlets in the world. Modern retail formats that have started in the past decade have contributed to a vibrant hybrid shopping culture.
घूम के शॉपिंग करने में जो मजा है वो मॉल्स में नहीं आता.
I like malls because basically, these malls are spacious and you need to spend good time with your family and all.
Actually, it depends on the budget I have or any other family has. If the budget is under all these brands come under that budget, I'll go for that because the quality is pretty fine. And otherwise, if the street shopping is good for me, I'll go for that. It depends on my budget.
प्रत्येक संडे इधर आता हूँ मैं और मेरे जितने भी कपड़े दिख रहे हैं, चप्पल से लेकर पैंट शर्ट सारे इधर से ही लेता हूँ.
ज़्यादातर कोशिश करती हूँ होलसेल के राशन की दुकान से ले लूँ, लेकिन उसमें भी बजट तो अब कहीं भी हम लोगों के पहुँच के बाहर है.
Mall is you can go there and you just look around the dresses you want. It's not like in the shop they have to show you the dresses, but in malls we can go and we can select ourselves, we can try it and all.
अगर मॉल के पास हैं तो बिग बाज़ार चले जाते हैं. अदरवाइज हम अगर आसपास अपने घर से निकले हैं तो छोटी-छोटी शॉप से ही ले लेते हैं.
I have experienced that in the mall the vegetables and the fruits are stale. They are not very fresh. It's okay for other things like our grains or sugar or some things like that. But otherwise for fruits and vegetables, the locals are much better.
I'm a localite from Jaipur. So I know shops where there's a shop called Mashhoor Punjabi. If I buy something in bulk, they give me usually like a 15 rupees or 50 rupees off on deals. Whereas these places like Palladium, you'll never get that kind of place. So it depends. An intelligent consumer will always categorize it where I want to buy what stuff.
Nielsen estimates that the modern retail trade is worth $28 billion and will grow to $260 billion by 2020. But for now, the hypermarket and supermarket formats are struggling to be profitable. Here's why.
The shoppers need to increase the ticket sizes and revenues per bill need to go up. That is number one. Number two, the cost structures that the retail industry is incurring today, we need to do a better job on that, which includes things like rentals or shrinks or damaged product. That is the second part of it. The third part of why it's not happening is because capacity is getting created in wrong places.
Given the low margins in the business, most retailers say they can be profitable if they grow. But for that, they need money, and for now, they're not making any. In Mumbai, Nikita Rana.
So modern retailers need money to make money. My guests will take that thought further. Let me introduce you to them from Next Practice Retail, S. Raghunandan and Rama Bijapurkar, who will analyze the issue. And to vet that analysis with their experience, Sanjay Nair, CEO of private equity investment company KKR India, and Kishore Biani of the Future Group that owns stores like Big Bazaar. Rama, you want to set that up for us, the argument?
Let's begin with why we need modern trade at all. We've seen that consumers love it. It gives them better for cheaper, and it does that by aggregating sales across a lot of stores and a lot of people and buying better from suppliers. It doesn't buy better by squeezing margins from suppliers alone. It buys better by eliminating waste, by eliminating middlemen who don't add value, and that's the magic of modern retail. Governments gain because it's all out in the open. Consumers gain, producers gain, inefficient middlemen and inefficient competitors lose. But all this good stuff can only happen if there is significant scale, and scale by itself is no good. You need profitable scale. FDI is the only way, according to us, that such scale is possible to be built, because homegrown retailers have so far not demonstrated that they have the science of knowing how to scale and the money of scaling.
Okay, so let me get Mr. Biani in here. Do you agree with her analysis? Because, you know, when I look at the Future Group and, you know, Pantaloon Retail, you've got 214 stores, 15.2 million square feet of space, 7 retail brand formats. Is that not scale? Because I thought that was scale.
Yes, we are, in terms of fashion business, we have achieved scale. In terms of food, we are virtually getting there. And third business which we do is home, and we are building up scale there. But I think Rama is right when she says that scale is very important, because scale will get you efficiency, scale will get you better prices, and scale will ultimately be able to get you more scale.
What is the scale in the context of your company and your business, Mr. Biani?
Let's look at the food business. It's an opportunity of maybe $250 billion in the country in terms of the consumption. It can grow further if people start consuming value-added products. Currently, the consumption is basically of commodities, not so much of value addition. But I think as the economy progresses, as the disposable income rises, we move into value-added products, and that creates economic activity in form of branding, packaging, processing, distribution, and that further helps to grow the economy. I think it's a journey and a process wherein a consumer evolves, and modern retail helps the consumer evolve into buying more and buying better products.
Right. Sanjay, if I can get you in here, what is your sense of the technical know-how that Indian entrepreneurs in the retail sector have when it comes to scaling up? Or, are they capable of scaling up? What seem to be, things that hold them back?
You know, we've looked at quite a few businesses because obviously it's something that investors want to put money in. I think when it comes to the tactical know-how of how to scale up in India, I think the Indian entrepreneur knows it pretty well. How to get the right locations in terms of rentals, how to get, your various permissions, understanding the Indian consumer. I think they know it pretty well. But when you get to the next level of scaling and profitability and understanding economics, I think that scale becomes the only driver and not understanding some of the some of the finer aspects of the retail science. It is a very scientific, business in a way. And at least my understanding, and again, Kishore is here, so I don't want to sound like I'm preaching because I'm not really a retailer myself. But when you look at some of the foreign businesses overseas, this is run on metrics, and it's run on really scientific metrics. In the context of India, I don't think Indian entrepreneurs have yet applied that. And I think they scale up very well to the Indian context, but start looking at economics and four-wall economics and stuff like that, I think then there is a long way to go. Mr.
Biani, is that diagnosis of Sanjay's one that you agree with?
I think up to a point, yes, because retail...
So what's the point you don't agree with?
No, retailing is a science, yes. But the science, whether you apply it on day 1 or whether you apply it on day 2 or day 3 is the question which I'm asking him. I think it needs to be applied. So like in our case, we expanded, but now it's the earlier piece was, like he said, the art of retailing. We know the consumers, we know the markets, we understand India in a sense. Then that was the art of doing business, and then the science of doing business is the efficiency, the supply chain management, your network design.
So, and is this a place where Indian entrepreneurs don't have homegrown knowledge?
We don't have knowledge because this is a new business in the country. And whereas people who have done it all in various parts of the world, they have applied this science and they know that business. So in that sense, we are learning while they have to learn the art piece and we have to learn the science piece.
Okay, Raghu, good time to get you in here, the art and science conversation. Should we care that they are not making money? I mean, why should we care whether they're making money or not? Because as a consumer, as long as what I need is available to me, it's there. And what we heard is that retailers could be blamed themselves for some of the problems that have happened in this sector, isn't it? So overcapacity, absolutely crazy expansion.
First of all, I don't agree with this overcapacity. I think we're still a very underserved market as far as modern retail is concerned. I think we should care about this business because the consumer benefits. Okay, better retail means better prices means happier customers. I think part of the problems have been people have focused on opening doors. Can I get 50, can I get 100, can I get 200 stores up and running quickly?
But isn't that what scale is about?
It is, but it's relevant. It has to be relevant. Do I open in the right market at the right place? Do I spread myself thin? Have I got my back end in place? I think these are questions that retailers need to answer. And only then I think can we look at scale and can we look at profitability?
Mr. Biyani, you made this point about the science part of the business, which is, getting the supply chain, the logistics right. And I've heard you speak about this several times. Now, the government has allowed in its policy previously 100% FDI in back-end operations. Why is it that the Indian retail sector and Indian retail entrepreneurs have not managed to benefit from that policy?
I think first of all, it's about consolidation of demand. Unless the demand is not consolidated, what is a good use of the back end? You can't create back end first if you can't create the front end. So I think front end needs back end. I think India has been working on a small industry mindset from the earlier days. Our farms were smaller, our produce were smaller lots. I think our stores were smaller. When modern retail comes in, they consolidate demand. And then we need consolidated supply. We need larger suppliers. We need flow of goods in a particular manner.
So you're saying that FDI in the back end hasn't happened at the levels it should because the front end is not big enough? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And so just allow the policy being there is not good enough.
I think front end, there has to be consolidation of demand. Then only the back end comes in. And I believe the back end has started coming in slowly and steadily on certain categories. We now know somebody who is consolidating grapes crop. We know somebody who's consolidating carrots as a crop. So there are players who are coming in, but they have to look at the demand side also.
In the current context, Sanjay, one question becomes critical, and that is consumer demand seems to be tapering off. Is that a temporary phenomenon because of the macroeconomic environment, inflation, high interest rates, uncertainty, or is this something that is more sort of germane to the India growth story, this kind of slowdown? Because if that is true, then all this talk of building scale comes to naught, isn't it?
I don't think that the tapering of demand is sort of generic. It may be a month-on-month phenomenon, but I would say in certain sectors like food and groceries, I think should be holding up pretty well. I think things that are a lot more discretionary, like appliances and some of the home products, it could be coming off because of just the inflation that's biting into everybody's wallet. But I would say generically, the secular trend is only one way. And therefore, I think, growth in consumption, changing buying behavior, the need to go to organized retail to get the variety, to get the best value for money, I think that's just one way, which is the positive way.
Mr. Biyani?
Indians don't have that kind of disposable income. So sometimes a particular category does very well. And sometimes a particular category does very well. So this time, food always will be the demand. We see a lot of new categories emerging on the food side of business. We see services, the food services business growing significantly in this country. Like last year, we had a very good growth on the consumer durables as a category. Fashion was fantastic last year. So this year, there might be a little bit of dip on that business, but then there are other sectors, other categories which have done well.
It is a one-way trend because 1 billion people, $1 trillion of GDP and a largely young population will consume. But the number of things to consume is actually growing at a faster pace than the incomes are. And so you will spend 1 year perhaps on something and 1 year on something else. The sweet spots will keep shifting. And that's why you really need a multi-category scale in every category kind of business to survive.
And that cues me into Raghu. Give us a sense of what is the scale we're talking about? How many numbers of stores? And like you said, pertaining to the food and grocery segment, which affects everybody.
Our analysis is, if I just take the top 40 odd cities in India, 1 million population plus, consumer demand will support today about 1,500 hypermarkets. We are looking at about $4-5 billion of investment without even factoring in how much money we need at the back end, how much loss funding, etc., etc.
We'll take a break and come back. But when we come back, Sanjay, you're going to react to that $4-5 billion because it seems like a small sum. Why then do we need scale? Why then do we need FDI? More about that when we come back.